Okay, this is now the 5-minute tarot for the 30th of March 2017, and I think this is a quick video. So today's card is Six of Swords, and if you look at the picture, we've got the woman and child in the boat, and they're being transported from one side, let's say one side of the river or the lake to the other. So it's a kind of movement and travel and change and probably improvement, or at least you're leaving a difficult situation behind. And so ideally there's going to be there's a new and probably, let's say, there's going to be a better situation ahead. And that can be as much as it takes to answer the question. So somebody wants to know, are things going to go well? And you get the Six of Swords. Yes, it's going to be better. It's going to be good. Or you've got a chance for a new beginning. So make the most of it. And that can be what you would say about that. So if we can go a little bit further though, with this card, or when this card comes up, maybe it's going to be important to be clear about who's doing what. And make sure that people do what they do best. Because if you look at the picture, we've got the man. I'm not taking any kind of role that men do this and women do that. But it's more that you've got the child who's sitting in the boat, and the child isn't really helping, which is good, because when you're little, if you've got children or grandchildren, you know what it's like, that sometimes you just want the child to sit there and not do anything, because if they try to help, it can be more trouble than it's worth. I mean, it's a good experience for the child, but if you just want to get from point A to point B, you probably want the child to sit quietly. And maybe it needs somebody to pay attention to the child, to keep them distracted, let's say, while the heavy lifting, so to speak, it takes place. So it's not that I'm saying that children ought to be seen and not heard, and that women can only look after children, and only men can make things go, because women are in many ways an awful lot more capable than men. But it's more the idea that you've got people in a suitable position for what they naturally do well. And again, I'm not saying that women naturally do well looking after children. It's not that kind of thing. So I hope I'm not offending anyone. But it's more the idea that, here's a question. Would you rather have one, let's say you've got 6 things that have to be done. Would you rather have one person who does all 6 things in an okay kind of a way, but not that well? Or would you prefer to have 6 individuals doing one thing extremely well? And I think that's partly what this particular card is about specialization of function, or about doing what you do naturally and doing what you do best, rather than trying to be, you know, that expression, a jack of all trades and a master of none. And I think this can be what this card is about, so that when it comes up in a reading, you talk to the person about being clear about who's doing what, and is this the right person for that particular job, or would it be better to get somebody else to do that, to perform that particular task? Then you know it's going to be performed extremely well, and you're not going to have fallout because of the maybe not quite finished job, or you're going to have awkwardness because something was left undone. Right, whereas somebody who knew what they were doing would not have left out that particular step. So it's that idea. And there's a fellow called Roger Hamilton, and you can find Roger on YouTube, and he's got this whole system or whole method of figuring out what you're good at. So let's say you're good at coming up with ideas. What you do is you spend your time coming up with ideas, and you get other people to implement them, or you get other people to interact with potential customers, let's say, rather than try to do it all yourself. And he says, if you stick with what your natural ability is, you have success, or greater success than trying to do what you're not very good at. Because some people are really good at organizing. So if you're a creator and not very good at organizing, you're better to create and not try to organize. And instead you get somebody else who is good at organizing to organize for you. So again, it's like understand what the role is or what your natural ability or natural talent is and develop it rather than expect that you ought to be able to do everything well, because it doesn't work. And if you stick with what you're good at, it can save an awful lot of time as well, because you're doing what's easy and what's natural and what you're good at, instead of having to take time off from doing that you're good at and learning something you're not very good at. It's a bit like in high school or in school. If you're good at art, they say, well, you're not very good at mathematics. Focus on being better at mathematics, instead of saying you're really good at art. Develop your ability with art. And in some ways, maybe for the happiness of everybody, if you're really good at art, do a lot of art. And if you're not very good at mathematics, get somebody else to do the calculations for you. That's kind of specialization and mastership, and doing what you're good at, and not expecting, because the Six of Swords reversed can be somebody who expects that they ought to be able to do everything well, and it's not like that. I'm not saying this is a general rule, but I'm saying when the Six of Swords comes up, that can be the kind of question that you have to ask the questioner, or that can be the kind of situation that you think about, because it's appropriate when along with that particular card, even if it's not always true for everybody all the time. Okay, that's it. Tomorrow will be something else. Thank you very much for watching. See you again.